by head football coach Marcus Freeman to answer your questions. He'll start with an opening statement, but as a reminder, when you do have a question, please raise your hand and we'll pass the microphone to you. Without further ado, Coach.
As I just addressed the team, sometimes you got to take a minute and reflect on what an opportunity it was for our football program to play in this game, and to be the first team to play not only an FCS opponent but HBCU. It's really important, and it's humbling, especially from being an African American head coach. It is this is what you want for college football, and so. As I told Coach Eddie George after the game, I'm honored to be a part of this game with him. He's got a dang good team. You saw that in the first quarter. They quickly made sure that we knew this wasn't going to be an easy game, but our guys were able to respond and go out and execute. But it's important that we understand the magnitude of this game. And so I was pleased. Obviously, offense, I think we had 8 guys that scored touchdowns. It just shows the depth of our team, the ability to spread the ball around and those type of things. And then, defensively for the second week in a row, to not give up a touchdown is just huge. It's huge. And so I told Coach Biaggi during the game, there's a lot of special teams teaching moments that we can learn from in this game. I still exactly don't know what happened on the kick. We got to have a better kick on the kickoff. But, we had a couple guys in a position to make a play. We didn't make a play. So it's stuff we can address. I think about the muff punt they had. We need to show that's a teaching play. We got to be better on that. And then finally we got a chance to see Bryce punt. So again, I'm extremely happy with the victory. As I say this to you guys, I say it to myself, you have to enjoy these moments. They're hard, and we only get 12 guaranteed opportunities, and so you have to enjoy them. And so with that, I'll open up for questions.
We will start second row on your right, Austin Howell.
Marcus, was there any explanation to you on the Devin Ford kickoff play, and then how is he doing?
I saw him in the second half, and he said he's okay. He said head hurts a little bit, but they said he did not hit with the crown. He hit with his forehead, and I can agree to disagree, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, and then how would you assess how Angeli did in the second half there?
Good, man. I was proud of Steve, and made some good decisions. And it wasn't perfect, which it's never perfect, but thought he did a good job of keeping drives going, making big plays on, I think, some third downs, and obviously putting the ball in the end zone.
Second row on your left, Sean Stires.
Marcus, this is second week in a row where basically you've gone into a game. It's the season opener for the opponent. You gave up 55 yards on that first drive. Then I think it was just a shade over 100 the rest of the way. Was it kind of like last week where maybe you saw some looks that you hadn't seen before?
Yeah, same thing. Coach Gordon, we're laughing. It's just like, man, every team we play is coming out with things we haven't seen. And again, you do as good of a job as you can researching your opponent, right, and really preparing. But our opponents, they're creative too, right? And they're going to come out with new wrinkles. So the game of football, man, has to be, the great teams are able to adjust. And you have to be able to get plays drawn up, communicate from the press box down to the sideline, and make sure your players can understand what they're seeing and what they're getting and adjust to it. And then now you can recognize it. As a defensive guy, you can recognize formation and say, okay, here's what they did on the last formation. This is the play they ran on the last formation when they were in that formation. So that's the challenge. If we want to be a great team, we're going to have to continue to be able to do that. See something new on both sides of the ball, because they did stuff differently defensively too. And so the ability to us get it adjusted and corrected and then go out and execute.
You talked about Steve. You obviously got him in. You got Minchie in. You got a lot of guys in. Do you come into a game like this with maybe some benchmarks you're looking to hit as you sort of start making those substitutions?
No, I think my coaching point to the staff was our job on Saturday is to reach our full potential. Whatever the score is going to be, if we do that, is going to be what the score is. If we have the opportunity to get some guys that don't play in the game a chance to play, I want to make sure we give them a chance to succeed. So my only communication was, let's make sure if we get a chance to get 2s and 3s in the game, here's the game plan. Because what I don't want to see is us looking foolish because of coaching. And so I was just hard on the coaches, like, I want you to have a plan for guys that are going in there that haven't been in the game. And I thought they did a good job at doing that.
All the way on the right in the front row, Eric Hansen.
Hey, Coach, this was kind of the debut for a lot of your defensive rotations and your defensive packages. With that being said, how would you evaluate how those went before you got all the way down deep on your depth chart?
I thought it was good. Like, we started slow. There was a couple uncharacteristic MAs, and one play we had 10 guys on the field. And part of that, I don't want to make excuse, but part of that is the ability to really adjust from preparing for the triple option over and over and over to now you're playing normal defense. And so that's a little bit of it. I didn't want to use that as an excuse, but I understand that. But I thought after that first series, they were able to really just settle down, stop making the careless mistakes. I always say, don't beat Notre Dame. And there was a couple times in that first series we were beating Notre Dame, and I thought they were able to really settle down and go and do a better job.
You just referenced a team playing to its full potential, and I know you like to see improvement every week. So when you look at a game like this, what are kind of the things that you zoom in on and measure whether your team made improvement, since it was a big margin last week?
Yeah, I haven't watched it. The one thing that sticks out is I'm pretty sure we didn't turn the ball over, and I think we didn't turn the ball over. Okay, yeah, and that's, to me, that's a little different. But it was a challenge, right? Hand the ball to the official, do not turn the ball over. And I thought our offense did a really good job at that. And then defensively, they were so close last week at getting takeaways. And this week I think we had two, and we had 2 takeaways, which is fine. Like, trying is great, but we're evaluated on did we do it or not, right? And so they had 2 takeaways. Obviously, one went to the house for a touchdown. So that's where I saw a major improvement. I have to go back here after this and go watch the film, and on Monday I'll give you some more answers.
Second row, far left, Pete Byrne.
Marcus, on the topic of playing to your potential, Hartman leads 5 touchdown drives in 5 series. I mean, how close to perfect was he today?
He was good. He was really good. Not perfect, but he. The thing about Sam is the ability for him to come over to me and say, "I'm good." He made some maybe an error or two. Hey, a bad read, and he looked at me and was like, "I'm good." And so 6 years, man, that experience is so important. He's a heck of a football player. But the ability to handle the elements, maybe not playing perfect, big games, maybe a game where you're highly favored, he is a very experienced player, and I'm sure glad we have him.
I'm going to go a little big picture on you now. Take you back 1 year ago, your first game in the stadium, obviously totally different feeling. I wonder if you could just kind of put in perspective how much different you feel right now and how far you think your program's grown in a year.
We're getting better. We're getting better. As I said, I think before, there's no substitution for experience. And you can give me every blueprint from every head coach, and you still have to learn through experience. And I hope, next year at this point, I'm going to say, man, I'm so much farther along as a head coach after year 2 than I was after year 1. But the comfort, man, the understanding of what to expect, the understanding of really not being so emotional every moment. You have to pull back and look at this program in a macro picture, right? And that can be in terms of a week, that can be in terms of a season, but in terms of a game, and that's sometimes, I told Coach Parker, I said, hey, keep our composure, we're good. And I was laughing about it because as a defensive coordinator, right, I would want to be so perfect, and I can't believe they gained a yard, and what are we doing? But I think with experience, you realize mistakes happen. Let's keep our composure. Let's get to the next play and go out and execute.
Down in front on your right, Pete Sampson.
Mark, there was a moment where you were pretty emotional. The 1-minute drive, you use your timeouts there at the end of the first half to try to set up your offense. Can you just talk to me about managing that as a head coach? Is that a growth point for you, and just what that felt to see it pay off the way that it did? Yeah,
I saw on the clock as we were going out there, I think it was between 2 and 3 minutes. I said, man, if we can get a stop here, I want to have a 2-minute drive, right? And I was really calculating when we're going to use those timeouts and the ability to hold them as long as we could. After first down, we use them. After first down, we use one. And second down, we used 2 of them there. And I wanted to keep 1 timeout for our offense to have a 2-minute drive, and obviously they didn't need it. But it's so crucial to have those type of really situations. We do them in practice, but to have it live, Man, I was so proud of the way they executed. I love the communication. I was able to communicate with Coach Golden and say, hey, if they run the ball, we keep them in bounds, we're using a timeout. Coach Parker, I'm going to save you one timeout. I don't want to use the timeout until we're past midfield. All those things, man, you can practice them all the time, but there's so much value using them in the game.
I want to ask you one sideline exchange I was interested. After Ramon Henderson had that pick, you came over to the DBs and said something that didn't look like it was super complimentary. Like, what message were you trying to get across there?
We have a saying that says hand the ball to the official, and that's after every play. And so it's multiple reasons. One is it ensures you have the ball. So when we say hand the ball to the official, it ensures you have possession of the ball. There is no confusion who has the ball. Two, I think it's respect for the game of football. You know, I don't want to see guys throwing the ball down after a touchdown or an interception. Like, hand the ball to the official because you respect the referees, but you respect the game of football. And so a couple guys needed that reminder today, and you caught the one that I said to Ramon.
Third row on your left, Tim Priester.
Going back to that timeout called at the end of the first half, you did the same thing last week. Could you speak to the luxury of knowing that you have a quarterback? It doesn't matter if the field's 150 yards long. He's probably going to be able to take you downfield.
Yeah, he's pretty good. You know what? I don't want to tell him that too often, but, man, he is again, it's a level of comfort knowing that, hey, you can put that guy. Sometimes when you don't have that confidence in your quarterback, you're not going to call timeout. You're going to say, let the clock run out. Let's get out of this half and go to the locker room. But I wanted to get the ball in Sam Hartman's hands to run our offense in that 2-minute situation because I've seen it over and over, him go out and execute, you know, and he did it last week. He did it again this week. And so I have the utmost confidence. If we have probably at least 20 to 30 seconds on the clock before half, I'm going to call timeout and try to get the offense the ball.
I know the situation was different because of Navy's offense last week, but you waited to put Angeli in, and then he didn't have a really good shot at leading a drive. Were you bound and determined? Because it was only 35-3, I think, when you put him in. You weren't going to wait for that, and you were determined to get him in the game.
Yeah, I wanted Angeli to get some meaningful reps. I didn't want to put him in mop-up duty when the game's already out here. And I said, I want a little bit of pressure on Angeli, but our offensive staff to say, okay, hey, we have to score. We have to be efficient on offense here. We can't go 3 and out. And so I thought they did a really good job of really going out there, having a plan for Angeli, being able to adapt for some of the mistakes that were happening on our offense. And you know, I'm glad we protected him for the most part. He got hit once or twice, but I think we did a good job protecting him too.
Third row on your right, Angelo DiCarlo.
Coach, you mentioned 8 different players scoring touchdowns. How much does that help your offense to have those type of options, and how much does Sam help make those options be a possibility with the way he runs the offense?
Yeah, Sam's a big part, but I think we have some talented individuals. I would like to go through, and Jeremiah Love scored the first touchdown running the ball, you know, so credit to our offensive line. And Hartman TD run, Tyree scored a touchdown from Hartman, Audric TD run, and so, again, Holden State. So having Sam Hartman helps, but I think the depth on our offense and those skill positions show up when you see 8 guys score a touchdown. And so credit to our offensive coaches and the job they've done in those rooms.
And what was your reaction to Sam's front flip touchdown?
You know, I kind of don't want to see him do that, but more than that, I said, was this planned? Because you kind of did some gesture to the fans. Like, I said, have you done that before? He's like, no, I was just thanking the people for coming or something like that. I'm like, all right, you might have had that one planned, but yeah. Keep your feet on the ground.
And our last question for Coach Freeman will be third row on your right, Terrence Moore.
Yeah, Coach, with teams ahead like Ohio State, Clemson, and South Carolina, how do you keep your players focused on right now and not looking ahead? And I guess yourself for that matter.
Yeah, it's, as I told this group, we work really hard for 12 guaranteed opportunities. And of these 12, the next Saturday is what's most important. And it's a personal challenge that, for us, this is about Notre Dame's football program reaching its full potential on that Saturday. If it's good enough to win, whatever the score was today, whatever it was last week, great. If it's not, then we got to go back and fix it and say, why didn't we play at our full potential? Or if we did, right, and we didn't win, okay, we better recruit better. And so that's my challenge. We work so hard for 12 guaranteed opportunities. Like, think about that. That's 12 days in the year that you get a chance to go play this game that we love. And so be grateful for the opportunity. And I'm sure when we turn on the film for NC State, we'll understand the challenge we have ahead of us.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
As a reminder.